Coming up next on Locked On Devils, whoo! Was last night fun or what? Actually, I'd say for most of the third period it wasn't fun. But who remembers that? Cue the intro.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Devils your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. My name is Zach Berman. You are tuned into Locked On Devils. And yeah, it is Friday, November 7th, and the New Jersey Devils are the first team to 10 wins in the National Hockey League after defeating the Montreal Canadiens 4-3 in overtime last night at the Prudential Center. Now, last night was a fun game, a thrilling game, at times a frustrating game, a bit of a painful game. We'll get into why, but at the end of the day, a satisfying game as the New Jersey Devils returning home after a really rough road trip where they went 1-3 on the West Coast and are now tied with Montreal and Pittsburgh, who they will face tomorrow, among the top of the Eastern Conference. Yeah, the Devils are first team to 10 wins, and sometimes it doesn't even feel like that because they are now missing the entire right side of the defense. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And Jacob Markstrom, he's not playing well. No, and they're still 10-4, and they don't have a fourth line center. They don't. You could even say, well, I know there's been a lot of argument that Cody Glass is not even a third line center. He's a fourth. Well, if we get the Cody Glass that we saw last night, yeah, he's a third line center, and boy, did they miss him. I guess that's a good jumping off point, isn't it? Devils and Habs last night, battle between two of the top teams in the Eastern Conference thus far this season. Puck drops, and there's been so much talk about getting off to a fast start, how necessary it is for the Devils to come out hot. And 1 minute, 53 seconds in, Cody Glass does just that. It's an unassisted goal, but he picks the puck up in the neutral zone and then snipes it home against Jakub Dobeš, who was awesome yesterday. He was fantastic, but couldn't stop that one. There's your hot start. Cody Glass was arguably the best forward for the New Jersey Devils last night, and they missed his presence on the West Coast so badly. It is so nice to have him back, and he was skating like a bat out of hell the entire game. And it was not just the goal. It just, you felt his presence whenever he was there. That is the Cody Glass that turns this team into a Stanley Cup contender by having him around. Oh, was he fun to watch yesterday. Now, as soon as it set in that Glass had put the Devils on top, about a minute later, Montreal ties the game. And I'm watching, as I'm going to discuss this, the goal visualizer that the NHL puts on their website. Kirby Dach is credited with the goal. And it was a shot by Noah Dobson, the former New York Islander, from the boards. Dobson gets the shot off, and there's a mass of bodies in front of the net. Dach was one of them. Andre Palat was there. And it was, Siegenthaler and Hamilton were also in that mix. And I couldn't tell what it hit evidently it hit Kirby Dach because he's credited with the goal, but it hits Kirby Dach and pops all the way up over. It was like an infield fly. Jacob Markstrom has no idea where it is. I see. I was in what section? I was in 127. I was right center ice in the 100s, and I see the puck fluttering in the air, and it's like I wanted to yell and I couldn't, because the next thing you know, it all happened in super duper slow mo. It falls behind Jacob Markstrom and perfectly into the net. Keep in mind, like, my section last night was almost entirely Habs fans, almost entirely speaking French. By far and away the most fun fan base in the National Hockey League to visit. Oh my goodness, just incredibly fun, kind people to be around. I think I'm going to have to go to the Bell Center when the Devils go in April. That is such a bucket list experience, such a great fan base. And after the flukiest goal imaginable, you're getting the Olé, Olé, Olé. It was great. It was great. It was wonderful. Rest of the first goes by. Devils actually played quite well in the first, but Dobish was on top of his game, and they go to the second, tied 1-1. In the second period, you'll never guess who scored to give the Devils their lead back. The boogeyman that haunts Tom Fitzgerald's nightmares. Andre Palat scored a goal, a real-life goal. And this was all set up by Shimon Nemec, and the stat card that comes out post-game wasn't too kind to him. I actually thought Shimon Nemec played very well yesterday. Had a rough third, but I think everybody had a rough third except for the folks responsible for the tying goal late. Oh, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. But just a beautiful play by Andre Palat. You know what? It was a beautiful play by Andre Palat. I'll give him his flowers. But Shimon Nemec behind the net, a beauty of a no-look feed. Palat, even he can't miss that, and he puts it past Dobish. The Devils lead 2-1. They were excellent in the second period. That was a vintage Sheldon Keefe Devils second period. They outshot the Habs 12-8 and would go to the third period up 2-1. Now, some bittersweet news in the second period. Dougie Hamilton goes down with an injury. I didn't see it in the building. Ryan Novozinski said that it is a lower body injury. I have watched the clip that one of my Twitter followers uncovered the clip of exactly what happened on his last shift. Who was it? I just want to get your name right. At Armaz6. Yeah, I don't know what your first name is, but Armaz6. Thank you for pointing this out on Twitter. There's a scrum right along the boards with about 14:45 to go in the second. Dougie's hung up there, tied up with Juraj Slafkovsky, and it looked like maybe it was his leg. I couldn't tell. I have watched this, like the Zapruder film, over and over again to try and figure out what happened. And he skates off gingerly, and then we don't see him again for the rest of the game. They're running diagnostics on him today. God willing, it's nothing serious, because now the Devils are down all three of their starting right-handed defensemen, and it's only November 7th. Oh yeah, speaking of right-handed defensemen, they cut to not Dougie Hamilton, who's already hurt now, but they cut to Brett Pesce in the in the press box, or in his little suite, and he is wearing a full cast over his hand, and it sounds like he broke his finger, which could be. I'm convinced that it has been a month since Brett Pesce was injured, considering it's felt like that. It has been about 10 days, and he's probably going to be out around 7 to 8 weeks. Well, Dennis Cholowski played like crap yesterday, and I hope you're ready to see a lot more of them, because enough. Hopefully this Dougie thing isn't too serious. It reminds me of what happened to him 2 years ago, where he ended up tearing his pec against the Islanders, and nobody saw it happen except poof, he just disappeared from the bench. Yeah, that's a second period. Third period. The $6 million man has a dreadful third period, because right out of the gate, just as everyone's getting back to their seats, less than a minute in, Jake Evans puts a shot through Jacob Markstrom from a terrible angle that should not go in. That puck cannot go in. When I say it went through him, I mean it went through him. And it sucked the life out of the building, except for the Habs fans. So the Olé, that starts up again. And from that point on, the Devils were holding on for dear life until midway through the third. Another bad goal from Jacob Markstrom. He gives up a rebound that just should not be spat back out into the... How do you give that rebound up, dude? And this was just a bad goal from Cholowski, who gives the puck up in the corner. Newhook gets the shot. Markstrom, it wasn't a great shot. It was right at him. It wasn't too hard. How do you spit the rebound back out directly to Oliver Kapanen, who doesn't miss on the backhand? And from that point until the last 2 minutes of the game, it looked like the Devils had given up. It was the most pathetic 18 minutes of a period this team had played all year. And it looked like they were headed towards, after losing in tough fashion in Anaheim, coming back on 3 days of rest, it looked like they were headed towards a game that, if you've been a Devils fan for the last few years, this is the kind of game that could send them spiraling. It felt pretty bad. It felt dire. And I know they would be 9-5, but we know how this works. This team lives and dies off of momentum, for better or for worse. And then they get an offensive zone faceoff. Markstrom is pulled. And there's something that I just keep on coming back to, and it's not just the fact that Timo Meier, who has been starving for a goal, on a scrum in front of Jakub Dobiš, put the puck on net, good things happen. Meier chips it home to tie the game. The roof comes off the rock. It is 3-3. But there's a quote that I want to come back to, because this felt like a goal that the Devils do not score in the last 2 years. They do not win this game the last 2 years. Oh, I gave away they won this game. Oh, no. Jesper Bratt, who, scored the winning goal. Might as well rip the Band-Aid off. Said, such a huge goal from Timo where we refuse to lose. That energy, that refuse to lose, that has been sorely missed. Oh, man. I was getting ready to tweet, Who on earth is going to step up? Who wants this? Who wants to win bad enough? Who wants to refuse to lose bad enough? It was Timo Meier, who ties the game with the goalie pulled at 18:53 of the third. Couple precarious minutes at the end of regulation, but the Habs end up not getting the puck home. We go to overtime, and in overtime, a bad giveaway in the neutral zone by Alex Newhook. Was trying to get it over to Ivan Demidov. Didn't work. Instead, Jesper Bratt goes the other way. He already had been stoned on a breakaway one time today. Did not miss the second time. Slides the backhand 5-0. Devils win 4-3. And that sets up a date tomorrow between the Devils and Penguins, two teams tied at the top of the Metropolitan Division in points. And considering Montreal gets a point as well, the Habs leave the game also with 20 points. So the Devils, Habs, and Penguins all tied atop the East with 20 points. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, give some more thoughts on who shone the brightest yesterday. Today's episode is brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real. The Devils didn't make any excuses yesterday, so hey, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Oh, you're down by 2. You're down to the Habs late in the third. It happens to everyone sometimes. But just when it comes to performance, your body needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. That's Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know that we sent you. Rougiette. Stop making excuses and start making moves. Back here on Locked On Devils, and just a few more things of note following their 4-3 overtime win against the Montreal Canadiens, as well as kind of a mini preview of their game against the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow. I think it's time, and I thought Stefan Noesen played a fine game yesterday. Fine, nothing exceptional. I think it's time to bump Arseny Griciuk up to left wing 1. I think he has done enough to deserve that opportunity, and you can just tell. And I am not the only one who feels that way. Seemingly everybody on Devils Twitter feels the same way. This guy is just ready to pop off. And putting him on Jack's wing has potential to be really fun for us and not so fun for everybody else. So I am totally down for that. But at the same time, it was so nice to have Cody Glass back. Oh, jeez. And that is without Connor Brown, who might have suffered a setback. I don't know. We don't know. I know they are practicing now, so maybe he's back. I know Jonathan Kovacevic was skating this morning. Would be nice to have him back. I'm excited to have him back. Brown remains out. What is going on? Yeah, it is still Polak, Glass, Griciuk. Defense right now is Siegenthaler, Nemec, Dylan Hughes, Cholowski, and Colton White. Woo! I think it's safe to say that something's up with Dougie that is more on the serious side if he's not skating. this team is just cursed with injuries. I want to have the thoughts and the right words. I don't know if there are any right words because I don't think the Devils are necessarily doing anything wrong in terms of conditioning or anything like that. You can't control these things, but yet it's like year after year. I think it's just a luck thing at the end of the day, and this team has horrible luck, and it is frustrating as somebody that wants to see them win. Ugh. And like I've called out Tom Fitzgerald in the past for some of the moves that he's made and some of the depth and lack thereof in certain aspects. Defensive depth was a strength of this team. It hypothetically, theoretically should still be. And you're down all three right-handed defensemen before November 10th? It has been a month. I hope Connor Brown is back soon. I know he doesn't play defense, but his presence is missed. This is just, this is brutal. They have to be the most injured team in the NHL. They have to be. I don't know if there's like a specific stat or over the last 5 or so years, how many like players they have missed or I don't know what the stat is. This is just unfiltered Zach Berman frustration here. Like, I don't want to see Dennis Cholowski on the NHL roster, and yet he has to be here. It is so frustrating. What do we have to do to get the Devils fully healthy for an entire season? Like, what do we have to do? My God. Like, I'm holding back. Like, I'm holding back big time. Like, I want to scream like Frank the Tank right now. I really do. Like, how are they this banged up again? This early on? Again? We're going to go to break. We'll preview Devils Penguins after. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when the first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here, Devils, Locked On Devils. The extremely injured, but yet somehow, some way, 10-4 New Jersey Devils. And a big win over the Habs last night, and now right from the frying pan into the fire with the Pittsburgh Penguins coming to town. The biggest surprise in the entire National Hockey League, Pittsburgh Penguins, who were 9-4-2 under new head coach Dan Muse. Remember when it was almost a foregone conclusion that the Penguins were going to sell? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Because now, I don't think that's going to happen when you're 9-4-2. You're tied atop the Metropolitan Division. Justin Brazeau is a point-per-game player right now. I don't know if anybody saw that coming. How about Ben Kindle? The 11th overall pick in this past draft, as 7 points in 13 games, is looking like a superstar in the making. Had another 2 assists last night against Washington. Oh, by the way, the Penguins won versus the Capitals yesterday, 5-3 in Pittsburgh. Evgeny Malkin has 20 points in 15 games. Sidney Crosby has 19 points in 15 games. I mean, we knew Crosby still had it, but Where was this coming from? Evgeny Malkin has turned the clock back. Brian Rust, trade bait? Probably not now. He has got 14 points in 13 games. Anthony Mantha has 7 goals and is a point per game, pretty much. Who saw this one coming? Now, defensively, Erik Karlsson looks like he is suddenly back to himself, but after that, how is this defense for Pittsburgh going to keep things up? How? Parker Wotherspoon is not this good. Harrison Brunicky is this good this early on? The Penguins are an enigma. They are truly an enigma. And it's so interesting to see how this is playing out. And you thought after they imploded against Toronto a few nights ago that was it. Like, the ruse is over. The Penguins are going to fall back to earth. But that's not the case, apparently. Now, Pittsburgh's record at the Prudential Center recently has been not great. The Devils have been their kryptonite at the Prudential Center. The Penguins are 3-5-2 in their last 10 against the New Jersey Devils. And it's always seemed like even when the Penguins have been great, they have struggled to win in Newark. So it is interesting to see what will happen tomorrow when the New Jersey Devils host the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is just a very intriguing, but also I didn't see a matchup against Pittsburgh being this meaningful this early on in the season. Can Pittsburgh keep it up? Can the Devils somehow, with the walking wounded defense unit, keep things coming? Maybe. I'm not. Everybody's dead on defense. It is wild. It is wild. And yet they're 10-4. They are 10-4 with a dead defensive unit. Jacob Markstrom looking awfully shaky. And they're 10-4. So maybe I've been a little too harsh even. You just keep the pace. I said going into this homestand, you have to win 2 out of 3. They got one of those 2 yesterday. You have the Islanders on Monday. The Islanders are very middle of the pack, but Matthew Schaefer is a beast. And you know what? We'll get to that Isles game when the time comes. Devils Penguins tomorrow. I will recap from the press box in Newark tomorrow evening or afternoon. Hopefully my Missouri Tigers pull through. And hopefully the Devils get healthy. Please get healthy. I'm tired of the injuries. I know Sheldon Keefe is tired of hearing and being asked about the injuries. That was a great clip. But what is he supposed to do? Locked On Devils. Thanks for tuning in.